Okay, I wasn't gonna make a let's talk on this because it's literally a fucking 40-second trailer. But goddamn it, Street Fighter's back. Going to be back. We probably got a few months before we see gameplay. We don't know exactly what the gameplay is going to be like at this. It could be a fucking arena brawl. It could be a battle royale game. We don't know. But check this out. This is kind of cool. This dropped during a Capcom Cup finale. There was a countdown. There was a Capcom countdown thing. I can't remember if I made a video on it or if I just was talking about it on stream. I really did not think Street Fighter was going to get announced. In all honesty, let's bring this back to Let's Talk for a second. I honestly thought it was going to be, something military based, like a Dino Crisis, remake, remaster, whatever, reimagining, I think is a better term for it. I thought maybe it would be like they were going to bring back an old thing of maybe like a Steel Battalion or something and do like a VR game of, like a mech VR type of situation where you're inside the mech and you're hitting all the buttons and all that, because they tried to do Steel Battalion is a Capcom game that had the giant controller that only worked with like Steel Battalion in like one other game. So imagine doing that, but in VR. That's one of the things I was thinking of. And then I was thinking of like maybe, Resident Evil or something, maybe a new VR mode or something for Resident Evil Village would get announced because, we have like PSVR 2, announcements coming out and everything. But instead, we got this.
All right, you ready?
Hiya!
Street Fighter 6.
Okay. I've seen this trailer like 30 times now. So my takes of this. I have no problem with Street Fighter going a little more realistic. I am a sucker for realistic fighting games. I love UFCs. Well, I love WWE stuff. I do love to jump into like a UFC game. I really love a Fight Night, that old series. So for me, more realistic is like hell yeah. Okay, it lets me live out my dream of being in a kung fu Street Fighter-y type of movie. If they want to go a little more hip hop with this thing, we don't get Def Jam anymore. So this could be like the new type of Def Jam. To me, I'm just like, cool. So what my first thing of this is, okay, so how is this going to feel if it's more realistic? Okay, RE Engine, we know that there is a lot of weight on those characters. We know that when it comes to RE Engine, give me 1 second. Let me actually just put this thing on a loop. We can't do replay on YouTube. God damn it, YouTube. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we got the video on loop now. But yes, so my first thing that I'm thinking about when I see this is my mind snaps right over to Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. Now, the one thing that if you go back and you play old fighting games, the one thing that you'll definitely notice when it's sprite based, it's very, very snappy. The most snappiest fighting games that there ever has been is old school fighting games. If you add more realism to it on the feel of the controls, then so Capcom could get away with doing realistic fighting games and appease most everyone other than like the diehard people are like, it has to be cartoony. The way that they can get away with appeasing even more people in this, I think, is if they make the feel of the game very snappy, not so much like weighted down, but make it like back in the day where it's like when you hit the button, you bam, you're just punching, you're punch, kick, and all that stuff. It's very just boom, 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 boom. Makes the combat a little bit faster, but also it makes the controls super, super snappy, as in when you hit the button, the move just pops out and it happens. So there's no wind-ups, there's no real, it just happens. On the flip side to that, sure, negative frames are a thing, and a lot of player base nowadays are like, okay, I have to go and figure out the negative frames on all these moves and everything. I have to go into the training and figure out, because negative frames gives you an opportunity to hit back. Old school fighting games, that's the reason why you can get trapped in the corner and just infinite away for days. because there's a lot less negative frames in those animations because they are just way quicker and way more snappier. Do I think they should have the weight of realism in this on the gameplay side of the feel of the game? No. I think that this game should be very Street Fighter-esque feeling. Realistic looking visuals does not mean you have to have ultra realistic feel. They can go visually realistic with it, but they can also make this thing appease to where the gameplay is fun as fuck by making it more arcadey on that aspect. So realism and arcade mixed together to make, and we've seen where this kind of works. It just does. It's just like UFC has a UFC 4 has an arcade mode where you can do it to where you just knock people out, where it's not just like you have to knock them down and get a 10 count, but it's like literally like almost it just feels like Street Fighter in a way of like, or actually no, it feels more Tekken. Sorry, but it's got the look of Street Fighter. So it's got the atmosphere of a Street Fighter, but it's definitely got like the feel of like a Tekken. Again, Tekken feels to me kind of a little more weighted. Like Tekken 7 feels a little more weighted down. It's not quite as again like when you have. So it comes down to the feet movement and how much if you're doing the fighting thing and you have that much of a wind up happen. Wah! Instead of where back in the day it was sprites where you had like just a few frames of animation where it's just like, and you have that very quick one frame here, maybe one frame here, one frame there, and that's a hit. With more realistic stuff, you usually have the full wind up, and all this is kind of in the frames. So when you have that full wind up of the punch, you have that negative. You have that negative area right there where somebody can actually counteract you with a low kick or something. So to me, it's like, okay, this is awesome. I like the realistic. I don't like the logo. Yeah, I'm right with everyone else. I don't really like the logo. I think that was the number one reason why I didn't think that the countdown was Street Fighter related, because the logo looks so different from everything else. I'm like, it doesn't have the flair of a Street Fighter logo. Or the countdown didn't really have the flair of a countdown for a Street Fighter. Usually it's like, get ready for the next challenge. It's like that very boom in your face, big colors kind of a vibe going on. So right now it's just very just hush hush. They are both focusing. They are ready to go to training battle. I don't think this is going to be like a war of the generations as much as it's like, he's coming in as like the punk kid and Ryu's trying to teach him how to be a warrior of the world, the street fighter. He sees potential in him, but he knows that he has to break that like, haha, look at me. Yeah. Ryu is like it is in a sense, old versus or young versus old in the sense of like Ryu is trying to break the young haha attitude. But I think it's also just something of like, okay, the youngin going against the boomer, and the boomer is trying to whip him into shape. That's my feel of this. I heard something about somebody go, he looks like Ninja. I'm like, yeah, he kind of does. The streamer Ninja. Now, the other thing I'm definitely seeing on this too is like Ryu he looks like fucking like Nemesis or something. So the muscles are all contouring and all that. I think that's a really cool attention to detail. Now the veins popping out of him, of his arm, it's a little weird looking. I definitely would say that. Again, what I'm wondering though, if he's powering up, he's like, wow, and his veins are all just, going crazy. And then Ryu's all like, like he's almost like powering up his ki or energy or something like that. I'm wondering if there might be like, I know that there was the EX trigger or whatever that was in the older fighting games. My fighting game hands-on knowledge is like Tekken 7, Street Fighter 5. It's that generation on. That's where and like MK9 on. That's where I really started jumping back into fighting games and getting good. So that's where my perspective of this is coming from. I'm wondering if they are going to have something like a devil trigger situation where all of a sudden it's like you're in the middle of the matchup and then you just go oof and you power up and then you get like an extra damage or defense of some kind or something. So you have some like, I don't know, the long range character gets a little extra. Oh Jesus! If they gave a zoner more defense, that would just be a nightmare. Because then they can just sit in the corner with more defense. You have to wait for that to run out, for their devil trigger or whatever to run out, and then you could go in and try and get them that way. I am wondering like what is going to be the gimmick of this Street Fighter, because there's always, every fighting game has a gimmick. Mortal Kombat, it's the fatalities, it's the X-rays, it's the all that stuff. The gimmick for Tekken is you have the rage arts where you go, I'm gonna beat your ass, bah, 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 and you go into that. Tag games have their tag mechanics and everything. So what is going to be the gimmick of Street Fighter 6? It looks like it's the power up. It looks like it's poof, okay, extra kick ass mode activated, and they're going to go in for it. So, but yeah, the look, the realistic look, I think it's really great to separate itself from Street Fighter 5, because there is there's still a lot of people that are like, man, Street Fighter 5 was shit, nah. But also that's the Capcom fan base. They do tend to, the fan base of Capcom games tends to really rag on its franchises. Like that's the weird thing about it's just like Call of Duty fan base or a lot of times Final Fantasy fan base does it too. Mega uber super big fan bases tend to do that. They start to really trash talk their own their own franchises. Street Fighter is no difference. Everybody's trash talked from the moon and back Street Fighter 5 over the years, and yes, Street Fighter 5 when it first came out, it was kind of rough. They've built it up to being a very good package deal now. Are they going to learn those lessons with Street Fighter 6? And are they going to get into it? Are they actually going to release something that it looks like this has a lot of budget to it, and looks like they're taking their time to try and make this into something really good? I can tell you right now, they've had a few different failures with, like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Street Fighter 5 when it first launched. I know that there's a few other products that Capcom has had fighting game related that were they sold like basically kind of like average, not like super well over the top of what their expectations are. But that's the thing though. Capcom expectations are usually somewhat up there. Same with Final Fantasy and everything. It's just a Japanese thing of Japanese expectations are way, way up here, where normally everything just sells here, kind of. So, but yeah, am I going to be hyped up to see gameplay? Absolutely. Am I going to probably check this out? Most likely. Do I think there's going to be like DLC, or is it going to be free to play? Boy, it could go free to play. Like that could be the thing that since this does look so different, it could very well be free to play, where you have like one character on rotation, and then maybe you spend the $60 to open up the full roster or something. I would love to see that happen. So then we get even people that are not interested in Street Fighter. It gives they have no excuse not to try it. Like try before you buy, to rope them into actually checking it out. Is there going to be microtransactions, a battle pass, something like that? I would be welcome to a battle pass, in all honesty. If you could do a battle pass and get even more content. I mean, Street Fighter 5 had just an epic shit ton of content. If you go into the store on Street Fighter 5, they just kept working on it. There's so many different costumes and colors and everything to unlock. You can unlock that with in-game cash. So that's my next big one on the list is please give us in-game currency that we can, and make it so we can actually, it doesn't take us a month to unlock one character or something. Like, definitely give us enough currency so we can buy the stuff in the storefronts. That's the one thing that kind of just burnt me out on Street Fighter 5 was like, okay, cool, I can earn a character by playing the game, but I have to play the damn game for like 3 months straight every night for like 2 hours a piece or 3 hours a piece, something like that, maybe even 4, to actually be able to get a character unlocked. That's a little too much when there's so many other games coming out. There's so many fighting games nowadays. I know that they want to keep you locked in on that, but I can tell you right now, everybody's going to hate me for making this reference. It does link to Street Fighter because Ryu and Ryu and Chun are in Fortnite. But Fortnite ropes you in very well because the challenges are so simple and you can just get everything done within like a couple hours. So if you're on a lunch break or something, you can drop into Fortnite and get a big chunk of your battle pass done for that day, within like an hour or two. That's what I'd like to see with Street Fighter. Of okay, I got even if they are like just colors or something, it's still like, okay, I've made progress into unlocking some new stuff. So now I got a different look when I go online. So I'm not just looking at the same color every time I go online. I'm not just using the exact same character, same color every chance I get to play a game online. That's something that really burnt me out with Street Fighter. In all honesty, that's the reason why I kind of like fizzled out on Tekken also, because I was just like, okay, yeah, I've kind of done this plenty of times, and yes, it's fun to play online, but I've just seen these characters looking the same way. Now they have added new stuff to Tekken also, but we've just been playing Tekken for so many years. I'm trying to think of what else. All the Gokus in Dragon Ball, I think people just fizzled out on that, so definitely if Street Fighter came out with a whole bunch of stuff to unlock, give me stuff that looks cool to unlock, and I will keep playing the damn game for months just to unlock the cool stuff. But don't make it so it's so hard that it takes forever to get that unlock. Keep giving us more stuff to unlock. Keep dangling the carrot in front of my face, because I want to have more stuff that I can just go in there and grab, so I can do different looks, do different costumes, do different colors, just like you did with Street Fighter 5. Make it a little bit easier, more accessible to grab the stuff though, without having to pay $15 for 4 characters. That's the balance I think that Capcom really needs to strive for. There's a reference in there if you know it. But yeah, I think Street Fighter 6 has a lot of potential. I see something really cool that they might be building here. I mean, can you imagine what the hell, Akuma and Blanca could look really weird, but imagine what Chun-Li, Cammy, and Sakura is going to look like. Imagine, hopefully Sakura is a little bit older too. If they're going with this realistic look, make Sakura a little bit older, because there's going to be some very questionable comments made about all the female characters in this because they look so realistic. And if any of them are underage, that's going to be, just saying, it's a fighting game community. I think this is going to be really cool. Also, this most likely is Unreal Engine, and if it's Unreal Engine, that means mods are going to be pretty damn easy to do. So the PC version of this is looking mighty intriguing. I would definitely love to see what the hell we get with the Capcom modding community if they got their hands on the RE Engine version of a Street Fighter 6. We could see some really cool stuff be made there. We have seen some awesome stuff for Resident Evils and Devil May Cry. I can just imagine Street Fighter. Anyways, trailer's cool. We gotta wait probably we gotta wait until the summer to see more. So I think we're gonna wrap this up here. And I'm gonna say hit that like button if you liked any of this stuff, to share, what is it, the like, the subscribe, and the bell. There we go. I gotta start saying that more in my videos. So anyways, thanks for tuning in. Oh, if you want to see more like Street Fighter 5 content, channel's got plenty of it. Also more combat and Tekken, and I do all kinds of different fighting games. I gotta get back into it a little bit. I've been fizzling out on it because we just had so many game releases happening. But there's a whole bunch of stuff on the channel, so go check it out. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, I will see ya next time.